It's okay. Okay, 1 second. Let's All right, everyone. How's it going? Can doing a mic check again? Can you hear me, Carl? Hello, hello, hello. Test, test. All right, loud and clear. I see in the chat. Yeah, fantastic. Happy to be again back on an amazing AMA on this beautiful Friday. I hope everybody is doing great. Yeah, the markets are looking interesting. We're definitely one of the most interesting times in crypto I've ever been, I would say, with all the global tension and all the things that are moving forward and all the things that are moving in weird directions. One of the most weird things I've seen in crypto this week must have been World Liberty Finance, for my opinion. I wonder what you guys have seen. But yeah, let me jump right into it. Let's go over a bit over the agenda. We'll cover that first, and then we have some time always for some back and forth or general questions. So please let me know. This session is also going to be recorded, so anybody who wants to listen back can always listen back to it. So yeah, perfect. Okay, so in this AMA, we're going to I will first start with a general introduction of all the things that we're working on, all the new releases that we're doing, and all the upcoming new products we are working on. And then I will talk about the MEXC Delisting Recap, how we're going to back to our DeFi Roots, the new Vault as a Service product offering that we're actually just pushed live. As you can see, we pushed a couple of updates live. There's some live product updates that just happened. If you go to the app site, you can actually already see what I will be talking about. And there will be some time for just going over the general questions, and I will also go in depth on the gauges, and maybe even Hin, I see also in the audience here, wants to come on as well to talk a bit about that. We've basically been working on like simplifying that framework for everyone to let people participate in the voting or incentive alignments of how the VE economics works in the best manner. All right, well, let's jump right into it with the the most pressing topic, the MEXC delisting. Yes, it's one of the most insane times for me, this TGE, and I would say that building the product is and all the stress that comes with that is I'm kind of used to that. I've been a product builder for many years now, so that's gone actually great, and also because of our amazing team, the products are functioning live, not getting hacked, and safe, secure, and online. That's all good. From the TGE side of launching a token, there's a lot of mixed incentives there, and we had, as many of you know here, we had Binance lined up that pulled out last minute, so we had to listen to our market makers and think like, what is the best option here? Well, if it was up to me, it would probably not bother with any of these centralized exchanges because they're all a bunch of crooks, basically, I would say. And yeah, what happened to MEXC is a bit of a weird story because we got listed there, and market makers are also like, yeah, that's a good choice to kind of start there and then work our way to Kraken and other centralized exchanges. We also had KuCoin and BitGet and others lined up, but we followed the market makers' advice, going with one centralized exchange from the beginning. Could have worked, could have not worked. Not to blame anyone, but MEXC definitely didn't really play that nice because they opened up 50x perpetuals without us actually knowing that. And MEXC didn't have any of the tokens because we paid them USD tethers for the listing fee. So yeah, it was very interesting to see all that price action in the first 2 hours of trading that kind of necked the price and made it so that it was a very bad opening of the token. We recognize that, we own up to that, to those issues. And that's why we're choosing now to just go back to our DeFi roots and building back on-chain liquidity slowly but surely, moving all the the liquidity that was on MEXC is slowly going to move back on-chain. And then we are going to basically work hard to get the products live to make revenue. And then at some point, we want to focus more on things like Hyperliquid or Kraken. I actually looked quite a bit into Hyperliquid. It's really cool because it's no politics, it's no bullshit. You can actually apply for listing. All we need to do is make an oracle for YND, list that on Hyperliquid, and we can place a bid, and then we can potentially get listed on Hyperliquid. But in order for that to make sense, we first need to build more products and more revenue in the token. And I think our plan is to then, once the token, once the products are generating more revenue, once we can build that up, once we can clean up all those flows, we can build back the token flows. We can then demonstrate better volumes, and then we can still reach out to Hyperliquid, which is permissionless, which we can activate first, and then still go to Kraken and other centralized exchanges that are a little bit more aligned with our our ethos. And I think like going back to our DeFi roots is probably a good thing. Like, it's really scary for a project, especially if you have a bunch of VCs and stuff. Like, everybody pushes you to go to decentralized exchange, but actually it's not per se good, right? Like you could get like this exchange pump, I guess, but all I see after going through this process myself is that a lot of times the charts we're seeing at the opening of token prices are heavily manipulated. And yeah, we didn't really do that. I did a more 2000 more of an old school like TGE. That's kind of what I thought kind of would work also with advice, but it seems you need to bring much more funds from the project side itself to kind of make that price chart look good. Well, that's something that apparently most of the projects do, and we plan not to do that. We just want to build the product, show that the product works, and build back from that foundation, right? And I think that is probably the best thing to do for the project on the short term and on the long term. So happy that the MEXC drama is behind us, and that we can move forward with renewed interest. And it leads us to the new Vault as a Service product. Like, YieldNest has not been sitting still. We have produced our own Vault architecture. There is many of these vaults. So you have Veda vaults, or you have usual and other vaults as well. And we're entering the arena with a completely new stack that we designed with all the pains that I learned from working with partners like Yearn, etc. Yearn is great. They build really good vaults, but the vault design space is very big and still very underexplored. And I think our vaults, where we have flex vaults, where we have more flexibility, is good. And I think also you can read it in our technical docs. We have a very elegant design, and we have a very minimalistic and elegant design for our base vaults and for our max vaults, where we can stack different durations, different strategies, very well on top of each other, and account all of that into kind of like a single token. Well, that gives us the ability to talk to different issuers, right? So this then brings us to RWA. I saw some questions in the AMA, but that's basically done by an external issuer, right? Like, YieldNest is not a real estate company, or it's not a TradFi company. YieldNest is a protocol, and we offer technology. And we now see that there is issuers that are interested in working with us, because a lot of these people tried it ourselves, but DeFi is also a little bit of a hard world to break into, with a lot of specialized skill sets that is needed, and our team is mostly specialized on that, and that's why we are focused on that. And then we're working with external issuers, like the project we're doing in Australia. Basically will provide private credit lines to these real estate, to basically to let's call it the DRE project. It will provide loans out capital to that. And YieldNest is not responsible. YieldNest is just the technology layer. It deploys the vault, and the underlying enforcement and the underlying mechanisms of that handles by that specific issuer. And YieldNest just wraps the vault around it and makes sure that all the accounting goes well, that all the DeFi integrations work, and obviously takes a fee of that we can distribute back to all the basically to the protocol itself, in order to create this like flywheel that everybody's looking for, including us, right? So yeah, the new Vault as a Service product is now live. You can actually go to our website, and you can actually see it's currently on the homepage. Let me actually link it in the chat here. Yeah, 1 second. And it's more like a B2B offering, right? Where we are saying like, hey, here's a vault architecture. We can deploy that for any interested issuer. We already have our institutional page as well for YNETH. If people are interested in that. We do also have a couple of ETH treasury companies. They're popping up left, right, and center. The dots, and we're also talking to a couple of those. But yeah, you never know. There's a lot of competition, but we're doing our best to be in the conversations. So yeah, that's very important. Yeah, and then yeah, live product updates. If you go to the app, you will be able to see we now have the swap page live. So if you go to the swap page, not sure if many people use that or not, but we actually built in a feature that if you now go there, you can see the pen doesn't really matter which network you are connected to. You can then go from any network to any network via the swap page. It's a very easy function. It's kind of like a wrapper over all these different aggregators that you normally have to use. And we want to make that a little bit simpler for our users if you want to swap to any chain, and also preparing for more multi-chain expansion. We've seen a lot of votes on the ink gauges. So yeah, we're working more and more closely with Ink, and we'll talk to them after I'm back from Sydney to see what their plans are and how we can integrate there more and more. So yeah, that's interesting also for Base or Arbitrum. But yeah, we've already been live there for many months, and we just need to explore how we can make it attractive for users to be bridged there. So probably we will list some new gauge proposals. That brings me to the bonus topic that I think we have some time to talk about, the gauges and the YieldNest DAO developments. Basically, we want to open up the gauge system a little bit more, and we want to educate people a little bit more of how that works. So basically, there's a monthly YND inflation that gets distributed from the community wallet to different gauges, right? So that's the curve pools or other integrations, and you can vote on that. I actually show here the new gauge proposal category. It's just went live, and Hin can maybe tell a little bit more about that, but soon you will see more and more proposals being listed there, right? So you see there the governance and the gauge proposal. If you then click the new topic, you can see the template. So anybody that wants to make a gauge, or any of our partners or any of our integrations, can actually come here, make a gauge, and then try to motivate the community to actually vote on this gauge, pass the gauge, and vote incentives on that. Let me actually also share the DAO page where you do that. Second. And you currently see, if you go to gauges, we currently have around 6 gauges live. Yeah. Yes, and you can vote on that, and you can see all the votes that go there, and that then will translate into incentives that will be pushed to these integrations, right? That's cool to see that's it's functioning. We're getting more and more votes. and yeah, that's moving forward. Yeah, it's one of the I saw that was also one of the AMA questions, right? The YND circulating supply. Yeah, we're validating that. Obviously, after the opening, that definitely went wrong. We have to reconcile some of the things, and we are going to build that back, and we're going to make sure that that works well. And right now, all the DAO votes are all done by the community, right? So the YieldNest DAO, the YieldNest Treasury, or users themselves, or me, like team tokens are still, a year locked. So we don't have any team tokens basically for now. So we're have to work on that. So soon the Treasury itself will also take some of the YND in order to add more votes and be more active in the governance. But for now, it's all like fully community driven. People can just vote on pages or proposals, etc. So I would encourage everyone to go to the gauges, and if you have any cool integrations or ideas you want to talk about, or integrations that we should really look into, you can actually propose that in the strategy. And then once it's a strategy, you can actually say, hey, that specific strategy or this specific integration, I want to make a gauge of that. And I just linked in the chat, and I would really invite everybody to go there and participate if they can and if they understand. And if there's any questions, never feel free to ask. I'm always here, or any of the community managers here, to always help anybody navigate that in the best way possible. So that is clear. Any questions so far from the community? I see a lot of familiar faces. Happy to go deeper into any of these topics before I move on to the AMA questions. Yeah, thanks, Carl. Yeah, this is also recorded, so people can always listen it back. But yeah, no questions. Then I'm just going to dive into the AMA question. We got around 10 AMA questions today, so fantastic. Thanks you everyone for asking these questions, and I'm happy to go over them with you guys. All right, first question. Could you share progress by RDX and when it's expected to launch? Yeah, so I'm flying to Sydney tomorrow morning at like 6 a.m. So I'm probably going to go to sleep after this pretty soon to be fresh for the trip. There is a lot of validation that we need to do, because the YieldNest itself is a technology provider and issuer in Australia, and let's call it DRE or private credit strategy, is an underlying strategy of RWX that we will need to validate more, and we do need to get more second opinions. And I do want to visit the sites, and I do want to make sure before any of the strategies added, especially when it's one of the first ones, I do want to make sure to personally validate that, and also to very clearly separate it for everybody that gets involved in YieldNest. It is a high yielding product, but every product, of course, has a risk, and everybody needs to be aware of that. Like any dollar you invest for any return has a certain risk. In the case for the RWX product, it's basically secured private credit lines for developer projects, but they always could go wrong, and then the RWX product has the mortgages in hand, right? Or the external issuer has there's a structure that holds the mortgages in a claim, and then when the interest payment doesn't come back into the vault, the properties that are the loan that is made to the developer, he then gives mortgages as a collateral, and if the interest is not paid, the collateral is getting liquidated, or if the principal doesn't get paid. So yeah, it's a secured credit. It's much better than most other RWA assets that we see on chain, which are most of the time not even secured. So yeah, it's a great innovation, and one of the most exciting things I like about RWX, it's going to take away work from the banks, because we're basically jumping into a financing gap that the banks aren't currently not filling, and as a crypto community we can actually step in there, fill that gap, and in that way also make sure that more revenue is going to move on chain, so that our industry eventually is going to get taken more seriously, more yield is going to flow in, and more real yield can be generated, and then we can build more real products on chain, right? So I'm very excited about that. So Yeah, DLDR, I'm flying to Sydney tomorrow to inspect everything. Could go very, very fast after that. It's really hard to kind of give any ETAs, right? Because we're still heavily in due diligence mode. But nevertheless, the RWX asset is already live on staging. All the technical work on the backend is done. We're just waiting for the issuers, the final checks to kind of pan out, and then we're gonna move forward there and launch the product. So that's very exciting. Question number 2: if there will also be proper risk reports by Llama Risk, etc. Yeah, for sure. I'm constantly in talk. I have good relations with Llama Risk, so we will definitely look into that. In Sydney, we're going to get more deeper docs and documentations and info, and we will also share it with Llama Risk to do a deeper due diligence on the strategy itself and publish that in a subjective manner, right? We always did that for other strategies as well. Like I know the Llama Risk guys very well. It's always great to work with them, very knowledgeable. And we have done many risk reports actually for all the products now, I think, except for YieldNest, not yet. But the MEXC Vault architecture, just from a code perspective, is completely also inspected by Llama Risk. Obviously, we're doing constantly new updates there, so of course it's none of their work holds anything accountability for them, but they looked into that, and the MEXC Vault architecture and the accounting, the transaction guards looks great. They already reviewed that, and that's the same architecture that's being used for the RWX vaults as well. So they might be able to do a specific deeper dive on the strategy itself. So maybe that's a thing, or revisiting a risk analysis report on just the MEXC vaults that we developed could be a really good idea actually. So great idea, whoever asked that question. Right, can you provide more details about the buyback mechanism and the operational fees? Yeah, exactly. So right now we are building back the token supply. We're building back everything after not a good opening. And we're working on dashboards, June dashboards. We're working on to make that more transparent, so we can showcase like, hey, these are the fee collecting addresses. These are collecting the fee. These are the fee. These are the fee sweepers. And then we sweep the fee up, and then we buy the YND and distribute it. We're already distributing YND via the current community incentives that are being streamed into the gauges. And then soon you will get actually you will be more incentivized to stake your VE YND because you will earn more YND via the buyback and distribute program. And also we've seen a lot of new mechanisms in the buyback and distribute program, right? So that you could do it completely programmatically, or you could build in TWAPs, or there's a lot of new developments there that we're currently also investigating while building back that trust and that supply for the community and for everybody involved, and also for the team itself, right? So to get more clarity and more insights into these data flows. We just actually also, it's more of like a back-end release, but we actually implemented the hook architecture into our vaults. That means that we now have more flexibility and have a better way to collect fees in general, or to manage these flows better, right? So we didn't have that implemented when we launched, but we hardened that now, and that also means that we can take fees in a better way and make that more transparent. So that's currently work in progress, and we will inform once that happens. And that also kind of connects to the question number 6 about the circulating supply. I already highlighted it, right? So when MEXC gets listed, when we get all the tokens, and when the airdrop, etc., when it all rolls back, we can fix that issue. We can validate the circulating supplies and circulating supply and move forward. We're still waiting now for the market makers and other entities to send back the YND from MEXC. So once that's done, we will be able to verify the supply very soon. Will the community be able to vote on adjustment of fee buyback model in the future? Yeah, you can. That's basically goes via proposal. So yeah, a proposal can be made to say like, yeah, we want to burn all the fees, or we want to throw all the fees as well. So that can be done via a proposal where people can vote on if they wish to do so. But for us now, it's first most importantly, to implement all the correct fee collectors, launch a new product, the RWA product, or other Vault as a service that are going to go live, or the other, ETH treasury companies that we're currently talking to. If they go live, that we have a much better fee flow to the system that we can then display, that we can use in order to make the protocol more alive again. And I think it's looking bullish, so we're gonna keep going. All right. Most of the questions here are already answered about the YND claim and about the allocation. Can you give a sneak peek of upcoming Vault as Service products? Yes, 100%. I just already shared the Vault as a Service tech docs. You have actually the landing page. From the landing page, you will also find the technology docs, right? So as you can see here, the new Vault as a Service page, kind of what we try to do here is kind of make the world aware that YieldNest has a completely new Vault architecture, and we are open for business. We are currently working with the issuer in Australia, but also talking with ETH treasury companies that are looking to kind of build a way, or kind of like an isolated structure that they can operate their ETH treasury company from. And there's not that Fireblocks or other things, but they're looking to go on chain, and that requires a lot of infrastructure that we have and that we can sell and work with other issuers with. So that's great. So I would highly recommend everybody to check out the landing page and view the docs if you want to dive deep, or let us know if you're also looking to build anything in DeFi and want to have a vault that is supreme and top notch. Then we're happy to help and support you. A little bit of history here, right? So when I was working at Cyber Capital or DeFi Capital, was always my vision and passion to say, like, well, I think all of these things that we're doing here in the fund, we can actually fully automate the net asset under value calculations, right? That's what we did with the vaults. We can actually fully automate the fund administrations of taking in investors and then having investors exit, right? That currently the vaults kind of do that fully automated. Where when I was running the fund in the Netherlands, there was a whole system that we had to build to then have time series and have NEVs every month, and then close all the books and have inflows, outflows, etc. It was a lot of work because there's a lot of paper around it. Reconciling all the accounting is pretty much annoying and a lot of work. And it's very cool to see that the Max vaults, if you go to YNEVX or YNUSDX or YNBNBX, they work now all fully on chain, and all accounting happens on chain, and the NEVs are basically continuously made. And it's in general a huge innovation that I think traditional finance, or a lot of financial the whole financial industry is going to be shaken up by these kind of mechanisms, right? Because when we buy a share in a fund, you basically you get a promise, right? But if you buy a share in a vault, you can transparently see the backing of it, and that's why we designed it also with full layer 1 settlement assurances. Any of our vaults, when they get deployed, we make sure if you go to YNEVX or any of the vaults, you can see the DBank link to easily see all the underlying assets basically under one all the underlying assets under one main address, basically in one token, where you can stack trade, back trace, all the different underlying assets in a very simple manner. And also overlaying over that, we have a transaction guard that makes sure that when we add new strategies for the underlying assets, that it always flows in the right manner. Oh yeah, thanks, Carl. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. We should use this. Well, this RWA protocols, stablecoin issuers, treasuries, DAOs, and DeFi projects. Yeah. All right. Going over question number 10. What are the external partners you're working with, and how will these solutions benefit the community? Yes, so all the vaults that are being built, or all the different strategies that the YieldNest protocol builds and deploys will have a fee that's connected to it, right? So in order, for example, to now create the RWA, the YNRDX is kind of like the top level vault. Underlying vault is a flex vault where we then have the RWA issuer having his own vault, right? And that specific vault will earn a fee. If the external issuer really likes, for example, what's happening, he can sell his own underlying strategy, but that still benefits YieldNest because all the money that flows via that infrastructure, all the fees will flow back to the YieldNest DAO. And then eventually, once we have everything in order and when we have everything cleaned up, we will start the buyback and distribute program, probably with TWAPs. We're not gonna just dump it all in one on the market, but probably with TWAPs once more enough fees are collected and we can build the revenue streams back, we will activate that, and the community will benefit from all basically everything that any of the external issues do is all connected to the YieldNest technology stack. So we'll always, all the money flows, all the fee flows will eventually flow back to the protocol. All right, let me know if there's any questions from the community in between. Always super happy to answer. Question number 11. Can you update on the latest progress around gauges? Yeah, let's actually maybe spend some time on that. I think we have some time left, definitely like 10 minutes. So I can share my screen and we can we can go over it. Yeah. But so far, any questions? I kind of handled all of the questions. There was now a question for the community to go over the gauges, and I will do that after. So there's no more questions. All right, let me share my screen, and then we're gonna go over. Yes, not sure if it's visible, but it should be. So the question that came in was how do the YieldNest gauges work, right? So maybe starting with the first basic step, right? What is a gauge, and what does that mean, right? Well, a gauge is basically a bucket where we say, okay, we stream some YND in there that will then get distributed to that specific integration, right? So for example, as you can see here, there is the SD YND and the YND gauge, which currently yields a lot because there's not many people LPing in that position, but people still voted to send YND into this gauge. In this case, the YND that's sent to the gauge will go to the vote market. The vote market will then bribe the CRV voters, and they will vote on the specific pool, and you will get CRV rewards. As you can see here, it's 250% plus yield. If you have YND, you can actually put it in here, and you have then the SD YND LP position where you will earn over 250% APY, right? And there's other integrations that you can see here that are being worked on. The YNEX YND also one. And actually, if you want to see the overview, you can go to the DAO page, go to the gauges, and you can see here all the different gauges that we're voting on. And you can see here the votes and percentage of total. And that means that of this inflation that is currently coming in YND is being distributed over these pools. And as I said, this is currently fully community driven because the community votes, etc. The YieldNest itself is not voting on this on purpose because we really want to see what the community thinks and what other people want to do here, right? So that's really cool to see. Yeah. So gauges are any of these integrations can become a gauge, right? So let's say the ink one that's also already a gauge, right? You can see here the YND APY 15%. That's good. But also the Pendle position could be a gauge. So how does that work, right? So if you, for example, you're in Pendle with maybe let's take another example. Yes, so let's take the Spectra position. Let's take the Spectra. We're going to take the Spectra LP and PT position here, right? So you can see here quite good attractive yields. Still pretty low TVL. So yeah, anybody wants to go here, some nice juicy yields. Currently, this doesn't have a gauge yet, right? So what you could do, you could say like, well, this is a really cool gauge. This is a really cool protocol, and you put some money in there, and you have some YieldNest DAO tokens. What you can then do is say, I want to go to the gauge and I actually want to propose a new gauge, right? You can do that by going to the governance forum, actually go to the main page, close this topic, and go to gauge proposals. And here you can start your new topic, and then it opens up. And you can see here directly opens up with a template where you can see, oh, I want to file this gauge proposal. Well, let's first have the title here. And this would then be the title Spectra gauge, right? Spectra gauge proposal, add gauge for Spectra protocol chain symbol. So then in this case, it's Spectra ETH L1, L1 and it's not YieldNest, but here you can also, you have to be very specific here, right? Because there's the LP and the PT or the YT, right? So for example, you say, I want to put a gauge on the LP because I want to reward people that are LPing in this specific integration. All right, and then you can go here, L1, and then the token name is LP YieldNest, right? Well, and then there's a lot of questions we ask here because gauges shouldn't just be given out randomly. It should only really be done when we think there is a long-term potential for this integration, right? We can write the product name, etc., and the motivation why you think you want to do this. And this is also for external protocols, right? For example, we just added the, not sure if it's already added, curve. No, it's not added yet, but we're adding the metronome gauge as well. So this is from an external protocol, metronome, that has over $1.5 million, I think, in YieldNest, and they have their own synthetic ETH version, and they are minting YieldNest and looping YieldNest to get more yields, right? So that's what metronome is doing, and they want to have a gauge to promote their community and to incentivize long-term alignment with the metronome protocol, right? So, and I think that's great, and they are going to. This already happened, I think, a week ago, so that proposal is probably just going to go through. And then you can go here to the proposals, and you will see currently, we had a proposal for optimizing the gauge rewards for vote efficiency. And when we push a new gauge, we are able to vote on that and add it to the gauge system here. So I hope that is clear. And people can see how the system works, and happy to dive deeper where needed. All right, yeah, so that was most of the AMA questions, actually all of the AMA questions and all of the topics covered for this week. Yeah, we are very excited about this new kind of convergence that we're seeing with TradFi and DeFi. It's an exciting time. It's a scary time as well. And I feel that our vaults are at the right spot at the right time. We're getting a lot of interest, but none of these things happen overnight. Unfortunately, the TGE did happen overnight. The price went down, but like we're working very hard to build back the revenue, build back the trust in also the overall system and everything. And luckily, there is a lot of trust in the system still, because there's still a very healthy TVL. We have a lot of really cool users. We're very happy with the feedback we're getting on our architecture and on the vaults that we built. A lot of interest from multiple angles, and we're going to keep working on that. And yeah, I will send some photos of Sydney when I'm there into the community, flying out tomorrow morning. If there's any community members in Australia, Sydney, let me know. Happy to meet up. And yeah, we're gonna fly tomorrow morning, and I will report back to everyone. And very much looking forward to get started with the RWA product. We are ready. We are now doing our due diligence, and also happy to keep working on our other existing products that are moving forward as well. All right. If there's no more questions, I'm gonna call it a night here. But please ask if there's any questions. Always happy to answer. But if not, then I'm gonna close the AMA for today. Golden Mile. I think you dropped in a bit later, but happy to talk about anything. Yeah, we're just closing down here. Yeah, I went in detail into that topic. That was kind of the first topic that we discussed. Yeah, the TLDR. Happy to go over that once again before we close, because it is a thing. I would say, like, launching projects and working on actual innovation are two different things, unfortunately. And we as the YieldNest team, we focus a lot on just building products, and then trusting external, advice, and trusting certain centralized exchanges. Yeah, that doesn't work for a protocol. We should have just stick to our ethos and just actually only stayed on chain. If I look back at what happened, I'm super happy that we're now off MEXC. It was a horrible experience having 50x perps going live and having weird on-chain activity from them. But we're leaving the past behind us and we're moving forward. And I'm confident that it's upwards from here. Let's hope. And we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep building. And as I said, we're traveling to Australia, going to do more investigations into the issue for the RWA assets. And yeah, exciting times. I hope that answered high level your questions, Golden Smile, especially for you. But yeah, if any more questions, then I will. Awesome, man. Yeah, super happy. Yeah, it's a really big journey, and I do want to go more in depth into that maybe at some other point. But it's a problem we need to tackle. Like, how do we launch projects? How do we align innovation to happen without just weird shit, right? So for example, World Liberty Finance, the World Liberty Finance coin, is not really, there's no innovation there, right? They said they would fork Aave and give Aave some stuff, but then they launched, and there's currently nothing there, but people are buying the token because Trump is behind it, right? So I think as an industry, we need to see, like, okay, what do we want to have in our industry? Do we want to have World Liberty Finance shit, or do we want to have new innovation again, like Curve or Convex or YieldNest, I hope, as well, right? We're doing our best. So that I think as an industry we need to decide, and I hope that for future founders that maybe listen to this, yeah, always try to stick to your own intuition there. And it's a battlefield out there, especially when it comes to these kind of token launches and finance in general. So yeah, let's try to hope that we can build that more on-chain transparently. Maybe the ICO days were not that bad at all, but yeah, let's see. KOLs, yeah, KOLs is another interesting topic, right? It's kind of hard to measure the return of investment or the productivity of a KOL. But no, we still have KOLs. We still, we're still having talks with many of them. So once we have new products we're pushing or new announcements, we are definitely going to activate those people again. Yeah. Amazing. Thank you, Golden Smile. You're giving me a golden smile as well. All right. Yeah, thanks everyone. Very good AMA, and let's push forward. Yeah, please no drama. I also wanted to make very sure, and I want to say this in the AMA as well. Like, I'm super happy to always respond to any questions, but we're, it's not the easiest time as a founder to go to this, but I'm super motivated. But it's annoying to see constant, like, price talks or other things in public Telegram channels or public channels. It's fine, no problem, but there is specific channels for that. So if there's specific people that keep doing that, they will be banned from now on. So that's, I hope that's clear. Nothing against everyone, but I just wanted to make that clear. And Carl also already said that in the in the specific channels as well. So, all right, that being said, thanks everyone for an amazing AMA. And yeah, I'm looking forward to an amazing productive week in Sydney. And I'm gonna send some photos from Sydney as well. All right, guys, thank you so much, and see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye bye.